Most players will give up before they get to this point, and it is the most tragic thing of all time. You got to know the process to understand the game. Let's go. The most tragic thing is to give up before you truly should. Today we are talking about the hierarchy of competence. This is a horrible, horrible thing to not understand. First point, the unconscious incompetent. Those are big words. We all know that I dropped out of college to go pro, but what does that mean, an unconscious incompetent? That means when you're starting a new skill, a new subject, a new sport, if you're new to the game, if you want to start from being a defender and you want to be a striker, you don't really know what you're doing. You have no idea. Your intuition can't help you. You don't know, right? And that's where you begin all the time, and that's where it's fine. You should know that this is going to happen. If you know it's going to happen, you're not concerned about what you do in the game. You're just there to soak up all the information. This is what you need to do when you're learning a new skill. This is what you need to do when you're learning a new position, a new team. Complete blank slate. From here, we can move up to starting to understand what we do when we first get our first inkling of how and what to do to change our game to be a better player. Most players give up before they even get going. If you don't know what you're doing, you shouldn't expect to be good. But this next stage, the conscious incompetent, this is the stage where you kind of have an understanding that you're doing something right, but you also know when you do something wrong, and that is the most important. The most important part for you when you're learning a new skill, when you're learning the new technique, is to start figuring out where you're wrong. All right, I can see that Thierry Henry kicks the ball like this when he bends it. Mine's not quite like that, but what specifically? When you can start to see, I'm not doing it exactly right. When you start to see those and feel those, then you can correct them. The problem before is that you had no idea what you were doing, so you didn't know what to correct. And now that you do, you're at that second stage. You have to recognize that second stage. This is the part that you're truly aiming for as a beginner. I have some understanding of how to do this elastico, but I know mine's wrong and I know where. Then you can truly start to make the adjustments that will turn you into a baller in level number 3. Now phase 3, you are at the point where you actually have an idea of what you're doing. You are a conscious competent. This means that you know the steps correctly, you can do them, albeit you have to think about them. You have to think hard to bend that ball properly. You have to think hard to get an elastico and do it. You have to think hard to juggle. It requires all of your energy to juggle the ball and to keep it up. You're concentrating very hard and you can't do anything else. This is not the end game. We're pushing you to get to the end game. If you know the process of what it's like to be this striker who understands slowly, who has to focus to do this, who first off was starting by toe poking, then was learning how to pass, then was trying to do these things, you won't give up. And our whole point here is to try and give you guys an idea of where and how you can get to mastery. Because if you understand the phase and the level you are, because if you're honest with yourself right now, you guys know exactly where you fall on this list so far. Some of you are good at certain things and some of you are horrible at certain things. And if you know where you are on this stage, then it'll help you figure out how much longer it will take you to get better. And that's what we want. All pros have basically determined they are going to forever be a part of this game. And it's up to you to decide if you want to make it to this last phase. The unconscious competent, my friends, the last stage, where you don't have to think about what you're doing. You can do tons of other different things while you're doing it. You know this is what happens when you learn how to drive, right? Those of you that can drive, you know this. When you're going to kick a ball now with mastery skills, you can listen to music, you can look over the hair, you don't even have to look at the ball to do it because you understand the process. This is where you're actually aiming for. Most of you don't have an aim when you're trying to learn a new skill. You try the skill once, you learn it, you watch Jay or I do something on here and you go out there and then you're upset. You're mad, I can't do it. I guess I'm no good, right? No, that's phase 1. You're at phase 1. You gotta go at phase 1, 2, 3, and 4, and it's worth it. If you can get to, flick that ball, if you can get to stage 4, that's where all the fun is. I can guarantee you. And that's where most pros are at. That's why we're always trying to tell you guys to work on your technique. Because if we can get you excellent at your technique, you won't have to worry about that at all, and you can start thinking about other things. Imagine what it would be like for Messi if he had to dribble thinking about every single one of his touches. This dude takes like 700 touches in the space of 2 meters. How is he going to get all this stuff done? It's because he doesn't have to think about it. It just happens. And that's where you should be aiming for. That's what you should be doing. Just like me with the crossbar, right? Ha! Like I couldn't hit the crossbar. That's the vid, my friends. You now know exactly what to do, which is give us a like, comment, subscribe, check out the gear and everything from us here at Unisport. And remember all of these things if you want to become a master of your future.